evening, good evening.
Well, it's almost good afternoon, 2 o'clock p.m. Here in the city Izmir, and we have a cloudy weather, no sun, and it's breeze is coming from the sea, and it's almost like rain on the way.
Well, we are on winter mood here. That's why I'm wearing winter clothes in my office.
Okay, so you are trying to save the fuel.
Yes. Now I was reading your message like this. Let me read. Hello, dear Mrs. Wilhelmina. If our vendor in Conakry, Guinea, and Bamako, Mali agreed ready to use this new implementation method, which there is no tax will charge for buyers if they place order 100 kg above quantities. Tax will be included to sales until sales unit price 1 kg will pay by the seller. Okay, may I explain to you like this? Okay.
Yeah, please.
Okay, listen very carefully so that everybody understand this. Now, you're buying precious item. There is always government sales tax. There is always. However, because I convince my seller, instead that we charge the buyer government sales tax and shipping cost and insurance, we give the buyer an incentives. Our selling price less 8%, tax included. Right? The buyer will not pay taxes and the seller will cover that. But minimum is 100 kilos above. Okay?
Yes.
On the small quantity, like a small buyer that he doesn't want to purchase 100 kilos, minimum of 20 kilos, is still the price less 8%, the tax included except shipping cost and insurance. Right. You understand now?
Okay.
So there is a difference. 100 kilos, more or 200 kilos or 500 kilos, the buyer would not pay taxes. The seller absorbed that. So the buyer, before the buyer will conclude, he has to send his copy of business registration, an importation license, passport copy, and the proof upon his bank statement that he has $1 million. More than $1 million, because 100 kilos is already 50 kilos, because our selling price is 57. Right.
Yeah, close to $6 million.
$6 million. So the buyer would not pay anything when he come to inspect the 100 kilos, right, in the office. The buyer has to put a down payment. Right. The down payment in order for process all the paperwork. There is no upfront. The buyer has to make a down payment because he already see the products. He already see the gold.
Yeah.
So he has to proceed.
So
okay. I'm satisfied. I saw the gold and let us now assay the gold. You got
so
me?
This is basically the down payment after the assay, right?
The down payment after inspection. You cannot assay the gold because the gold that there is a charge of $100 and the seller absorb all the costing of assay report. So the buyer has to make a down payment, just like when you buy property in Turkey. You like the house, you inspect the house, how many bedrooms, how many square meters. Then the real estate agent will say, okay, Mrs. Ford, you like the house? Yes. Then we can do the contract. Buying gold exactly the same. There is no difference. There is no difference. So there is no confusion. I'll give you another scenario. My husband inherited the property. The two brothers inherited the property, and the real estate agent handled the marketing for them. My husband and my brother-in-law make a commitment to pay the advertising site, advertisement to sell the property. My husband and my brother-in-law, he gave the agent money to do the marketing because there is a cost. Buying gold exactly the same. You got my explanation here?
Yes, only with the 20 kg, still there is a tax charging, right?
Everybody has to pay the value tax. You cannot run away. In Turkey,
Yeah.
you have to pay the VAT. Here in Australia, our VAT is 10%. You cannot run away. I was the one who asked the seller, let us give the buyer flexible. When we give the buyer tax included, the buyer save more than $100,000. So the buyer is a winner because in every bar the tax is 4,500 in every bar. Now let's say the buyer wants 100 kilos, right? 100. Okay, just a moment. 100 times 4,500. The seller, the buyer, save $450,000 tax. So you got my explanation?
Yeah, according to my simple calculation, dear sister, buyer is saving for per kilo almost 9,000, $200 or $300 with the today rate he's saving because he's getting automatically 8% discount price, and plus he's not paying, let's say in Mali, 7% government tax. So all combined makes over $9,000 at one time he's saving from the per kilo of gold bar.
Correct. You just calculate on how much per kilo in Mali.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, I did according to international market, and here in Turkey, how much today rate is almost coming to the 63,000 US dollar per kilo. So I deduct 8% from the discount price. I also make it minus 7% government tax, so it makes 9,000 around $300. He
See?
Automatically.
Yes, he save it.
Yeah.
He save it.
And
but go ahead.
If Mrs. Wilhelmina, if she gives like a 10% discount, oh my God, it's already over $10,000. He make a very sweet money, these buyers.
Exactly. Now the loser is the seller. I just finished talking to my seller last night. Right. And I was the one who suggested this one. And my seller said, oh, Wilhelmina, you're giving away. And I told my seller, we will only give this when the buyer convince us, when the buyer sign a contract, long-term contract. Then we will supply every month, because I'll tell you, no such seller offering you this kind of incentives. I was the one who suggested to my head office. Right. Even in Mali, even in Conakry and Sierra Leone, the seller said, okay, we will give that, Mrs. Ford, but make sure that the buyer is really, really a buyer. Because once we invite him and we issue the landing visa, it costs the seller $150 as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the buyer is really, really very lucrative business, and he save a lot. And when the buyer sell the gold to his client, he sell it to 2%, he still have 6% on top of that. He saved $300,000 out of taxes. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I travel with the buyer, I do charge my extra service, because the seller would not give this kind of incentives if I'm not around. The seller might change his mind. Right.
Right.
So when I'm around, the seller would not change his mind. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, because he has a promise, and you are his business promoter, and you are his mandate and facilitator. So
exactly.
Over so many years, there is a business connection. He cannot turn his back, because he will understand he will be loser.
Exactly. And in all my communication with the buyer, I always give a copy to my seller in order for my seller to listen. Right. So the seller said, yeah, Wilhelmina was right. I'll give you this seller that I had spoken last night. My goodness. My seller lost his my seller lost his eldest son. I think I mentioned that on my previous video. 2019, my seller's
Yeah,
eldest son.
yeah. Yesterday
Yes,
you've been telling me this story. It's a so sad story, and it's $24 million. It's a huge
exactly.
money, but of course,
450
poor,
kilos.
poor,
Yes.
oh, yeah, poor boy, he couldn't take it, and then he feel he's the responsible. But if the money is gone, and if you cannot do nothing, at least try to recover, work with your family. Maybe you will recover this loss in
No,
the
the father
future.
was very
There
hard.
will be
The father was very
yeah.
hard when I was in the office. He is really very hard. Very hard man to do,
Okay,
to
so
deal with. But when I was
I
talking
understand.
to the
So
father, he has tears in his eyes. And I said to the father, life is very important. And you have plenty of
uh,
gold. The deposit of gold in
yeah,
your mine is huge. Why not just let him come? But you know, the pride. The pride. See?
yeah, yeah,
Even
yeah.
in
That is
Ghana 2014, if I wasn't there in Ghana, I brought the buyer from Mexico. They screwed me on 50 kilos, right? The
yeah,
gold has
yeah.
been
I remember
assay.
his. I forgot he was a famous guy. What was his name?
His name is Eric Blasco
I
and Mr. Marine Martes. Marine
yeah,
Cortes. Yeah.
yeah, Eric Blast. Yeah,
Yes.
Boston.
Yes. And he is very nice in the beginning. When he saw the 50 kilos at ER Logistic, he changed his mind. And he cannot even afford to pay the assay cost during the time was $50. Right. And my seller was really screaming at me. I said to him, relax, let's take out the 5 kilos and assay the gold. Then we'll see the carats and the purity. And Eric go behind my back and he window shop. He window shopping to all sellers in Ghana and not knowing I was on the security company. The CEO of the security company said I met a buyer from Mexico. I said, really? And when he showed the business card of Eric Blasco, and I told the CEO of the security company, don't deal with Eric. He said, why? I know him. He screwed me. Yeah. Yeah, he screwed me in Ghana. Yeah, I told Eric
Ah,
you didn't do the professional way. And then I sent an email to the old man that don't send your 50 kilos in Mexico. A minute that the gold arrived in Mexico, you might be killed, you might be murdered. And the seller didn't
or
ship the
forget
50
about
kilos. Yeah.
yeah, or forget about your money. You will never see any single penny or dinero.
Yes. And then the brother went to Russia. It's really great, this greediness. And the half brother went to Russia, the same company, AURUM mining company, right? They brought the 100 kilos, the gold would disappear. Yeah. And also the person who traveled to Russia, he also disappear. Yeah.
Maybe he went to Siberia.
No, he was been murdered. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That is yeah, that could be too. That could be too.
And then the son
It's
of
really
the son of the seller in Ghana, and he's a doctor. He called me. He said, Madam, I'm going to Ghana. I said, what for? Pop passed away. No, I was talking to your pop 2 days ago. No, he had a heart attack. Why? David was missing. Yeah.
mhm.
Another Sierra Leone went to New York. He brought $1 million, and the gun is on his head, and the diamond was taken out on his hand. He returned to Sierra Leone empty-handed.
Yeah, he
There's
saved
so
his
many
life
criminals
because
on
of
this
his
business.
mom.
That's why they're scared of me when I requested the buyer to open his camera, because it would be recorded for my file. Any buyer muck around, good luck to them because I have your file. Yeah.
Well, it is a some sort of business. It has need to be careful in every step, every step,
Yeah.
every step.
Buyers are scared to open
Regarding
their camera to me. He's not a buyer. Yeah. He's not.
regarding this agreement with Mali and Guinea, with our buyer. Actually, you made a good point. This is concern two areas. The one, because there are huge business cartels. They are
Huge.
penetrating already in
Yes.
Mali and as well as in Guinea. So they are trying to grab everything and compete with them. It is maybe going to be a little bit touchy and rough.
No,
So
my
that
seller is a real. No, my seller produce gold. You cannot. You don't deal with cartel because my seller own the mines. He is going to export directly to the buyer. That's why the seller hired Walamina to promote Africa. Right.
yeah. So this is actually one of the was my point. And second thing is, as long as there is a such privilege, which is there will be no 7% tax payment from the buyer side, which is allows to sell more quantities. So it is good for the buyer side too. I mean,
Exactly.
seller side.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, here after the election in Turkey, our this stupid government, we will trying to break them and bring them down. We couldn't success, unfortunately. You know, the Morgan Stanley, it's a Jewish investor company in the United States. They said after the election, end of this year, sometimes the US dollar against the Turkish lira, it might be 28 Turkish lira. However, right after 28th of May, today is the 8th of June and is already 23. Forget about the end of the year. I'm afraid before the end of the year, it will cross over 30 liras. So it is going to badly impact the economy because US dollar is now 23 and
Yes.
inflation is getting high increasing. So Ukraine and Russia between this strong conflict and war is not over yet. So this is gonna be affected again the world economy. So it is better for the time being play this game according to rule and sell as much as and save it.
Even
Sell
here
and
in
sell.
Australia, the inflation is getting higher. Now, even though the inflation is getting higher, the government is looking after us, right? Even though the commodity is getting higher, the government is looking after everyone. Why? Our tax is too high here, right? We pay the right tax. We don't evade taxes here. We don't. Our government sales tax here is 10%, called GST, government sales tax. We don't have any complaint. But when we need the government assistance, the government is always with us. Now here in Australia, we are free on medical. We have bulk billing. We have pre-hospital. But our tax is high. We don't have any complaint. We pay the right tax. But when we need to the government is always with us. Yeah. But in Africa, the government doesn't help people. They are rich on natural resources, but most of the international buyers are ripping off Africa. Yeah. Chinese, Lebanese, Indian, German, Italian, they are there in Africa. They're ripping off African people. The African people have no idea. I was there in Africa. I was talking to my head office. You know, you have to look after your asset. Why, madam? I can sense that so many foreigners here. Yeah. And I told my seller, control your asset. Let the buyer be hungry. If they cannot afford to pay the gold, tell them good luck. Next. Yeah. Everywhere. An Italian group of company is in Africa. Australian is there in Africa. But they are creating job because that's a big company. The government welcome the big firm and in exchange of employment. And the government give the big company tax incentives. They don't pay taxes. But they pay the royalty. Yeah. See? But most of the crook buyers
Yeah.
thinking, oh, I'll buy gold in Africa and diamond. I want cheap price. I want CIF to me. They are all crooks. They are all crooks. Yeah.
Yeah, for this kind of like this Eric Blasco and the other people who've been screwed and dumped.
Yeah, I have a very bad experience in Ghana. Very bad.
In Kampala, they are all looking for the small quantities and try to make a huge profit. There is no such a business.
Yeah.
It is a standard business.
Even American friend of mine, he went to Kampala, and he want to do business, and he was been homeless in Dubai, and I sent him $450 every time I'm in Dubai. I call him, come have dinner with me, free. Yeah.
But he stayed so long time in
Yeah,
the
he
United
he
Arab
did
Emirates.
stay because he
Why?
thought he can recover. He was doing some crypto. He earned crypto, but he doesn't have a permanent address. He's
That is
homeless.
one of the worst business.
Yeah. So lucky he was been deported. Now he's back in California.
What I believe that our hell and paradise here in this earth, that's why the Illuminati family or the people who is trying to control and manage the whole world, they discovered this one already a long time ago. That's why all the war is here on this planet. Because if you put the world map in front of you, over the 100 years or 200 years, you can see exactly where is the war zone.
The war zone is in Ukraine and Russia.
Oil reserve, Middle East, Syria, Iraq, Iran, and close to the United States, Venezuela, because Venezuela is the second oil exporter country, just next to United States. They want to grab this country, So all these dirty games behind the scenes, New World Order, etc., still is going on. Unfortunately, most of the public, they have acknowledged. They don't know what the hell is going on. They don't have any simple clues.
Don't you know that 2 nights ago?
Anyway.
Don't you know 2 nights ago I had a conference with a group, Russian buyer. He showed me his money boxes, and he want to buy gold, and I told him we don't do like that. Put the money in the bank, then we can do business. Yeah. It's a money laundering, and my seller cannot afford to lose his license.
Yeah, of course, because when the government they figure out, they can grab everything from this seller side.
The one Russian said we can bring a private plane. We have cash. I said, yeah, well, find someone else, because my seller turned it down when I showed the conversation to my head office. Madam, we are not interested. Very dangerous to deal with.
No, they have some Iranian friends, and there are some overseas offshore banking account is possible from Grand Cayman, and Grand Cayman doesn't do I guess for the Russians, but maybe in the Seychelles or the Man Islands.
No, we don't do that. No, we don't do that. My seller is just a small miner. He cannot afford to gamble his life. No, we have the gold, you have the money, you pay for it bank to bank. Simple as that. We don't want to buy the scheme of the buyer, right? Here's the gold, you have the money.
Yeah.
Pay for it. Yeah.
No, what was I'm saying? There are some good business people in Russia too, and they are trying to escape and flee from the Vladimir Putin management in Russia.
I know
they
that.
Want to do some business. The money should be placed in the bank account, not in the cash in the bank. So that is dirty and laundering.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway, nice talking to you. So I think I explain your question. Yeah.
Yeah. We understand 100 kg and above quantities. There is a privilege for the buyer side, and still is over or 10, 20 or less than 100 kg, still there will be a tax charge for the buyer side.
Exactly. The seller and the buyer cannot run away, because that is normal. You have to pay the government value added tax. That is normal.
Yeah, that is good. Now, buyers, they will multiply their income because they are getting good discount, and as well as there will be no tax payment. So what else you want? totally free.
May I recall our conversation so that the buyer understand what our conversation. The tax
Yeah,
is the tax is already on the price, right? Whatever the price on the world market, our selling price less 8%. Whatever.
yeah,
And then when the buyer resell his gold to his own customer, he can sell it to 2%. He has 6%. Aside from the 6%, he has a profit for not paying the tax. He has already a profit of $100,000 or $350,000. So at the end of the day, the buyer is a winner. Right. So where you
yeah,
gonna find the seller will absorb. But this is not CIF. This is FOB. You must remember. Right. And the buyer has to place an order. We have to do that on the contract. Right. And the buyer has to send a copy of his business registration, an importation license, passport copy, and a proof of fund. Without that, I wouldn't believe it. All right. See? You
yeah,
understand now what I'm saying here?
exactly,
Right. So I
exactly.
summarize it because our conversation is live so that in the future, the buyer say, oh, well, I mean, I was given incentive, yes, but it's minimum of 100 kilos above. But if you cannot afford to get 100 kilos, 20 kilos, tax included, but you have to pay the logistic and insurance. Yeah, 3% in
Yeah,
total.
that is,
Mm.
yeah, that's understandable.
So now you understand now. So you don't need to be confused. It's really very clear on my explanation on my video. Very, very clear. Mm. So any
Uh,
question?
the okay, 100 and above 100 kg, but there is totally 7% of tax will not be charged to the buyer, right? In
Would
Mali?
not charge to the buyer. Wouldn't.
Yes.
But he has to
And
make a
below
down
this,
payment when he inspect the 100 kilos in the office. Before the gold will be assay to DNGM, before the gold will be assay to the Central Bank of Conakry, and before the gold will be assay at GGO in Sierra Leone. The gold cannot be brought to the refinery unless the buyer ready to make a down payment because there is a cost of $100 per kilo. Hmm.
yeah, that is the most easy part. The main subject is bring them down to the Mali or the Guinea Conakry. Let them see. Once when they see, don't worry. Even maybe they will their mouth will be watering, and they will instead of the quantity which they place it, maybe they will even buy more.
Okay. Once
The
they
point
sell the
is
gold,
to
they're
bring
gonna
them
blow
there.
their brain because gold is money. They're gonna be blown
Yeah,
their brain. Their eyes would be open. Wow, wow, wow.
yeah, yeah. They says wow, wow, and I say it's just a regular type of business. My focus point is to success the business, not the wealthiness. No, wealthiness, of course, everybody needs income too, and me too, you too, we all of us. But for me, is the most I will say calculatable subject is to success on the business field. So the rest of them
Ramis,
will
you
be
would
automatic.
never find this kind of information. Never.
I
Any
know it.
broker
I
cannot
know it.
even explain to you like this. No, even the
I
seller.
know it. Yeah, I know it.
I'll tell you and I'll
That's why
give you
I
another
already said.
example. I Before entering 2023, there was a buyer went to Conakry, right? And they know
Hmm.
me, right? They know me. And he saw the gold. And he was being offered very cheap price. I think he was being offered $38,000 per kilo. Now, the owner of the
Hmm.
gold has no license. And he used the exporters to export. So the buyer showed me the picture of that exporter that I was in that office. And I told him, what happened? Oh, I was being cheated. I said, really? So I called the exporter and I told him, what happened to this buyer in Dubai? Madam, they are only using our license. The buyer and the seller has to agree. And the buyer paid the tax and the seller did not ship the gold because they have not paid the gold. And I told the exporter, you should advise the owner of the gold that he should not encourage the buyer to pay taxes because the tax would not be enough. Right? On the
Yeah.
50 kilos
Yeah.
is not enough. They have to pay the gold so that the owner of the gold have money, because the gold belong to the community, and they fly to
Yeah.
Conakry. They're using only the exporter's license. The exporter has nothing to do, but they blame the exporter. This is what the
Is it
exporter was explaining to me when I called them. Mm.
was it the same story you've been told me once? The exporter was in Conakry, Guinea. However, owner of the gold was from Sierra Leone because the tax there,
That's right.
the gold did not pay it, so the owner of the gold was holding the gold because they cannot make the documentation because the owner did not get to pay.
Exactly. They're
It
crazy
was
because
yeah,
in Sierra Leone, the tax is 6.5. Why are you going to smuggle it to Conakry? Why? You're crazy. The seller is crazy.
yeah,
Why not use the exporters in Sierra Leone? Sierra Leone tax is 6.5 and Conakry 6.5. Why are you smuggling? So that gold maybe the gold has been stolen. Hmm.
yeah. I'm sure they can do this one between the two countries there
Yeah.
because next to each other.
When I interviewed the owner of the gold, that where the gold originated, oh, from Cameroon. Most of the gold in Cameroon is smuggled into Ghana. Yeah. I was talking to John Smith, and he has 500 kilos, I think 4 years ago. And he's come this Pakistan in Dubai. And I said to John Smith, what happened? Why are you, why you didn't deliver the gold? Mhm. And the Pakistan, he borrowed money in the bank and he cannot even speak English. He need his an interpreter. He come to my hotel in Holiday Inn. And I told him, be my guest, have lunch. Hmm. Right. I know the trick of buyers and sellers as well. Buyers is hungry. They think that, oh, I'll pay taxes. No, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work at all. The seller offer you taxes,
Yeah,
then you're waiting for disaster 100%. Yes. There's no way
yeah,
you can bring the gold to Dubai, pay taxes only. No way. The seller will only accept the money, then they will switch off the phone. Just like this American guy. He paid taxes. What happened? It's disaster. So now he's in
yeah.
United States. Yeah.
And let me ask you also, Mrs. Wilhelmina, this: how many sellers we have in Mali and as well as in Conakry, Guinea, agreed with this new implemented system?
My seller agreed on the system in Mali, one seller.
Okay, but he is a big seller, right?
Big seller is an organization.
Okay, and Guinea?
In Conakry, 3 sellers agree.
Okay, so we have a 4 seller agreed with this.
Yes. In Sierra Leone, my seller agree. Yeah.
Shall we prepare a new full corporate offer for this new implementation?
No
or
need,
we
no
can
need,
just,
no need to prepare because
no need, right?
no need because once the buyers listen to the video, no need. You don't need to
Mm-hmm.
because I
Okay.
already explained this
So,
on the video. No need to.
yeah, and while attaching the document, I can bring their attention. The situation is like this, so there will be no tax payment charge to the buyer side, 100 and over 100 kgs order place.
Okay, you must remember because sometimes the buyer comprehension is very different. You're gonna say, "Oh yeah, I don't have to pay taxes. Bring the gold to Istanbul." It would be big no. The buyer has to
No.
have a contract. The buyer has to travel, and he sees it and make a down payment, a commitment, a deposit. It's not upfront. There is no upfront. He is buying money to make money, so therefore, when he inspect, he has to make a down payment, right, in order to process
Okay.
the export documentation.
Yes, for the 100 kg, after their inspected the gold, how much down payment they have to make according to 100 kg? How
We
much
asked for the
percent,
40% down payment.
sorry?
40% down payment.
40%. Okay. And then the gold will be delivered in central bank, and then documentation process will be started.
Yes.
And
Once,
then they have to pay the full payment.
yes. Once the export documentation has been prepared, the buyer has to transfer the balance before the gold leave the country of origin. Yes.
Yeah, they have to pay make the full transaction. Then they will receive all their export process documentation,
Yes.
all this certificate, origin of certificate, exportation invoices, etc.
It is on the corporate offer. I put everything. What the
Yeah.
buyer will
Yeah.
get, the assay report, certificate of clearance, attestation, the ownership, the custom clearance, airway bill, and the child labor,
ECOWAS.
and the ECOWAS. It is already on my platform. The buyer has to read properly. Yes.
I will maybe I might get in touch with this nice guy. Last time I made an interview with them in Istanbul. Maybe it will get their attention this time, because anyhow he was a greedy man.
Greedy man it wouldn't succeed.
No, maybe this time you can close the eye, because they've been opening the door from the 100 kg. So as long as he knows he will not pay the tax too, maybe this time he might break his rule, and they
Just
can
pay the
turn this
gold.
to Mali.
Just pay the gold. That's all.
Yeah, and physical he can smell. Maybe he can get even more. We never know.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you want, you can just we might forget, or we might skip it. If you want, you can type it for me again.
I will give you the video on YouTube and on Facebook. You have to listen and read it, because I don't have time. I'm too busy. That's why I put everything on my social media. You listen, you read, then you come back if you have question. But believe me, if you're gonna bring buyer, I'm gonna tell the buyer, did you listen to the video first? Not really. I want you to go back and listen.
Yeah, I told this guy same thing, Mr. Erkan. I told him, have you read the document which I sent you? He said no. Yeah,
well,
that is the big missing part. They one of the correspondents public interview with Henry Ford, he asked a question. Of course, Henry Ford, he cannot give an answer. He told the correspondent, I cannot give you the maybe correct answer which you asked me, but I can find someone who can find out your question, and I can give you the answer. So you are a businessman. If you cannot read it, you have plenty of people in the office. They can go through and they can read what is about this document, and you can prepare yourself accordingly, right?
That's right. I just imagine this professor from Russia. He said he's a professor. I think he live in Germany. And I told him, if you're a professor, how come you cannot comprehend? I'm a student. I went to university. I comprehend. Yeah. My professor explained to us, ladies and gentlemen, listen. After I explain, then there's a time you ask question. I already given question and answer on my YouTube channel and on Facebook. He cannot read. So meaning to say he didn't read. And then he asked, what is the tax? My goodness, you didn't read. To me, he is not a professor. Because to me, my seller didn't even explain like this. I was the one who put everything. I done my research. What is the tax in Mali? Mali seller would not explain to you how much tax. I interrogated my seller before they hired me. I interrogated my seller in Conakry before they hired me. I interrogated the seller in Sierra Leone before they hired me. Because I need to know the product knowledge. But most of the joker broker, they don't read. Well, that is not my job to teach people here. My job is to sell, read the full corporate offer, then we can do business. Does that make sense, Ramis?
A lot.
A lot.
A lot.
So the buyer is a winner.
A lot of sense. A lot of sense.
I always mention that Information is vital. This information that I have on my platform is worth $1 million. One professor from Germany that he teach English in Conakry, he said to me, his name is Philip, Madam, you said that information is worth $1 million. No, madam. Your information worth $1 billion. Why? I asked Philip, why, Philip? That product that you are promoting from Africa is worth $1 billion. So therefore, they have to be thankful that Wilhelmina explained thoroughly. He's a professor. And he always in and out to Conakry, Guinea. Yeah. And he said, wow, madam, you are very patient and those buyer cannot comprehend he is not really a buyer, madam. He was telling me. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was right. Anyway, so the flesh and open-minded business entrepreneurs, they know the reality in Africa. That's why the Italian Swiss called Bullion, they merge and cooperate with the Mali government, and they opened in 2016 this KMR.
Yeah, I think
So
2015. 2015, I think, yeah.
yeah, in January sometimes, I believe 1st January in 2016.
They are the biggest refinery in Mali. Biggest refinery.
Yeah. You think this is a joke or some seasonal business project? No. You see how many years is already? It is a $1 billion investment. 20 tons, maybe even more.
More than
gold.
Because the government the government welcome them and they don't pay taxes, but they have to pay royalty. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so it's a good news. And then let's see. It has to get attention from the buyers, and then whoever looking for the make it real revenue with this new implementation, they can success because it has given truly advantage.
Well, the buyer in Dubai they're just joker to me because they cannot even afford. They're scared. They want to bring the gold in Dubai. I just rejected this buyer that he has an office, and I told him, go and talk to Marina. They have an office in Dubai. Marina would ask any one of you guys if you're in Dubai. They have an office in Marina Refinery. They will ask you to put money first in their bank account before they're gonna bring the gold to you. I was talking to the nephew of Marina. Madam, please help us. We need gold. They said, well, you have, why not just buy gold in Mali?
Travel. Yeah, just you need to travel. Why are you scared?
Yeah. Well, they have an office in Dubai, Marina. They have an office. But the Mali, my seller, the organization is in control. He's the main control. In Mali, there are 4,500 local miners. They bring their dust gold and smelt into bar and then ready for export. Yeah. They're not selling cheap price because they're always based on the world market demand. Yeah.
Yeah, and after that they are paying back to the local miners, which they collected this gold dust gram by gram. They are paying
exactly.
People.
One bar belongs to many people. They have to share it. Once the buyer pay, okay, they're gonna have a meeting. Okay, how many grams you have? Here's your share. Here's your share. I found it. I said, wow. And I told my seller, you were being ripped off by the international buyer. You were being ripped off.
Yeah. They don't realize how much sweat and then maybe the bloodshed on this yellow metal.
That's right.
On the gold bar. So
now there is a buyer right now in Mali, huh? I told him I cannot deal with you. I want you to get out in Mali. You can get 50 kilos from us. Yeah. He's in Mali right now. I told him we don't deal business like that.
He went without you, and now he was asking your assist, right?
That's right. Yeah. So, he couldn't. He was talking to lots of buyer. And then he searched on he searched online and he found my YouTube channel.
Why don't tell him why you people always find me in the last minute? Where have you been before?
Do you want cheap price? Yeah. But anyway, nice talking
Now,
to you guys. Yeah.
just before I sign off, I just remember I have to share this information with you, and I need your consultation. And please let me know what you also thinking about this. There is one Spanish businessman who lives in Germany. He used to sell commodities by the commission base. He has one also partner from Spain, but after I believe 2 years back, I was in Ukraine that time, and I've been trying to sell some sunflower edible oils, etc. So he told me, okay, how it's gonna be the hotel accommodation, etc. And after that, more than not, I mean, she's given us this is charged for per contract. And he told me, do we need to split this amount? No. I said, this is belongs to her, and she deal with the seller and then taking care of this brokerage fee. So this new, this is her brokerage fee, and she cover with this her expenses and as well as her brokerage service charge. I believe I did the right one, right?
I think you did the right thing. Now, may I explain to you my the $20,000? My $20,000
Yeah.
it covers my flight, hotel accommodation. In spite of that,
Yeah.
I give the buyer a very good discount. I negotiate
Yeah.
to the head office.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, the buyer is a winner. At the end of the day, because he's saving already $300,000 worth of taxes and shipping and logistics. So he saved money already. So what is $20,000 is peanuts. If he cannot afford, meaning to say he has a problem. Yeah.
Yeah. More than $1 million.
Exactly.
So can you compare, as you said, like a dry appetizer money, sunflower seeds or peanuts, you painted at 20,000, and on the other hand, close to $500,000 you making profit at one time. So it's understandable.
But the buyer cannot see. They are blind. He cannot see for the long term. He only see the short term. My goodness, I'm a woman. I understand. I've been in marketing for 36 years. Buying and selling is always the same. You get the profit. Now the profit on gold is very good. At the end of the year, your profit is more than 100% or 80 to 100%. It depends on the quantity you are buying. But on the first trial, 20 kilos, you only get a minimal profit. But 100 kilos, yes, you do. Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Now I have to leave you because someone is buzzing me because I have a conference. And nice talking to you.
Okay.
And I think I explained through the video. All question and answer is on the video. Right.
Thanks very much. You have a pleasant evening and have a happy evening.
Yes, thank you very much, Ramesh. Goodbye.